After moving into a new home, our daughter changed, and then we found her talking to the wall. She's not blinking. That was the first thing my wife whispered to me on our third night in the new house. Our 6-year-old daughter, Ellie, had been sitting cross-legged on the hallway floor for over 10 minutes, facing the wall, eyes wide open, smiling at no TV.
No toys.
Just staring. We had just moved into this old countryside home 2 weeks earlier, a quiet escape from the noise of the city. The rent was surprisingly low, and the owner seemed eager to sign quickly. Too eager. The first few days were uneventful. Boxes, unpacking, settling in. But Ellie began waking up crying every night around 3:15 a.m. She said a lady with red feet stands by her door and whispers her name. We brushed it off as nightmares. New house, new environment, that happens, right? But it got worse. She started talking to the walls, sometimes whispering, sometimes arguing. Once I heard her say, "You're not my mom, stop saying that." I asked her who she was talking to. She said, "She lives here too." The next night, my wife found her standing in the bathtub, scratching the tiles with a spoon. When we asked her why, she said, "She told me there's a baby behind the wall." That's when we called in help. My wife's cousin knew a local priest who had dealt with situations like this. He came over, calm, soft-spoken. But as soon as he walked in, he said, "There's something wrong with the air here." He asked to speak with Ellie privately in the living room. Within 10 minutes, we heard loud banging from inside. We rushed in and saw Ellie screaming in a voice that wasn't hers. Guttural, angry. She kept shouting, "She's not my mother. She let me die." The priest immediately began the exorcism, and for over an hour, we watched our daughter thrash and scream until she passed out cold. Afterwards, the priest looked pale. He sat us down and explained what he'd uncovered. Years ago, this house belonged to a woman named Grace Howard. She was mentally unwell, lived alone with her newborn. Neighbors often heard her screaming at nothing, saying voices told her the baby was not real. One night, she smashed a hole in the bathroom wall and hid the baby inside. Alive. The child was never found in time. Grace was arrested, but she died in a hospital months later, raving that her real daughter would come home someday. The wall Ellie had been scratching? That's where the police eventually found bones sealed in old plaster. We moved out that same week. Ellie doesn't remember anything, but sometimes at night, she hums lullabies we never taught her. And when we ask where she learned them, she says, "The Redfoot lady sang it to me."